Hello, welcome to the news on NTA International. I am Musbat and Wahab. We're coming to you from the FCT. Well, let's see the headlines. As Nigeria records more cases of COVID-19 cases, global record hits 12.3 million. FCT Task Force intensifies operation, apprehends violators, including security agents. More tributes pour in for late Abba Kyari. Thanks a lot for staying tuned in to the news. There are more than 2.3 million cases of coronavirus around the world. Here's Joyce Ometu with a review of the global pandemic.
The week started with a total of about 1.8 million confirmed cases of coronavirus globally. But figures by Worldometer collated on Sunday as at 6 p.m. reveal that the infections now top 2,372,991. In Europe, while some countries began easing restrictions, the number of cases on the continent hit a record of 1 million. During the week, UK coronavirus deaths alone surpassed 15,000. The figures were announced amid growing concerns over a serious shortage of personal protective equipment for frontline medical staff. Still in Europe, the German health minister said the country's outbreak is now under control. The number of patients who have recovered is much higher than the number of daily infections. Meanwhile, in the United States, New York reported during the week its lowest daily death toll in more than 2 weeks. Now, this came after President Trump said the country had passed the peak of new COVID-19 infections. Brazil has the most confirmed coronavirus cases in South America. The country reports more than 36,500 infections. And Asia-Pacific countries kept reporting more COVID-19 infections and deaths during the week, as Turkey overtook neighboring Iran, registering the highest total of COVID-19 cases in the Middle East. The official death toll for COVID-19 in Wuhan, China was 2,579. During the week, the country readjusted the tally to 3,869, an increase of about 50%, with explanation that the country's initial figures were incorrect. As at 6 p.m. 19th of April, a total of 21,926 cases and 1,086 deaths were reported in 52 African countries. The 5 countries in Africa with the highest cumulative numbers of cases are South Africa, Egypt, Morocco, Algeria, Cameroon. Countries including Tunisia, Ghana, Ivory Coast, Djibouti and Niger have all reported a sharp rise in cases over the last week. And that's it from here. Many thanks for watching. I am Joyce Ometu.
Thanks a lot, Joyce. Now, 48 new cases of COVID-19 have been reported in Nigeria. Out of a total number, Lagos recorded 23, 10 in Kano, 2 in Ogun, 1 in Oyo, and 12 in the FCT. In total, there are now 541 confirmed cases of COVID-19 in Nigeria. Out of them, 166 patients have been discharged, while 19 deaths have been recorded so far. The Presidential Lockdown Enforcement Task Force may be taking a more stringent measure to deter people from violating the presidential lockdown order on the containment of coronavirus. During the witnessed some of its operations, while some military personnel were also caught in the trap.
Every day for the thief, but one day for the owner. This popular expression can best describe the scenario here at the Gwarinpa City Gate along Kubwa Expressway.
Very good, very reliable, dependable commander.
These military personnel is one of the unlucky few caught for operating commercial transport shuttle.
No, I think so far we actually got a very high military personnel, a warrant officer arrested, and by our convention with the military police team headed by Major Madaki and Captain Chime came in here and took the personnel that actually defaulted, and they've taken the person straight to their own area for intensive drilling and intensive discipline. The President and Commander-in-Chief means well, we'll defeat COVID-19, let's obey head rules, stay at home, and do it together. Very soon we'll back to our normal lives here. It's very difficult, we all know, but together we can defeat COVID-19. Let's just obey the rules, stay at home and do what is appropriate.
Just as the team was about leaving for onward enforcement, another drama ensued. A man is being questioned for violating the lockdown order.
I'm not shouting him, I'll beg him. I know you shall do this. Yes, sir.
I'm feeling severe pain. My whole stomach region is paining me.
When did it start?
I've been facing ulcer for the past 3 months.
Okay, so where exactly are you going? Which hospital are you going?
I'm going to Abuja.
He's not having coronavirus. He's sick. There's a general hospital here. There's another one there. You are lying to me. You are telling me nonsense. I won't lie with my brother. He's my blood brother, not my. He's my blood brother.
Matters here. You are worsening matters.
This nursing mother with a 3-month-old baby who claimed to be coming from our mother-in-law's house was not spared either.
The baby was sick, so I took him to my mother's house.
From Kuba Expressway to AYA roundabout, the story is not different. The Special Enforcement Task Force of the Nigerian military is on the street and will not spare any military or paramilitary personnel who take undue advantage of their profession to violate the presidential lockdown order.
Take them to the office now.
Doing Dia NT News.
Right now, joining us in the studio to talk more on the lockdown in the FCT is the Director Operations FCT Vehicle Inspection Office, Dele Yaro. Don't mind the name, it's a senior fellow. Mr. Yaro, you're welcome to the News on 90 International.
Thank you very much.
All right, the lockdown is in its third week now as we speak, and a lot has been invested in it. How justified is the investment so far?
Let me say this generally that today, this is the third week, is quite commendable. People are aware of what is happening now. Previously, in the past 2 weeks, it's like people were very defiant. They were not ready to comply with the lockdown order. And we were out at all the streets, junctions to make sure that movement are being restricted, particularly traffic movement. And now, with the mobile court in place, set up last week to enforce that this lockdown order, people now are being arraigned before the magistrate courts and to be charged immediately. Now, what we do is, after the arraignment, after paying the penalty, the vehicles are impounded until after the lockdown period. So people are not, so there are a lot of pedestrians too that are being charged because what we notice today, we have a very low vehicular movement, but today we have higher rate of pedestrian movement, and as a result they were not spared and they were arraigned before the mobile court, because it's not about maybe checking of papers these days. It's not about checking your vehicle particulars with other agencies or law enforcement agencies. What we're doing now is to make sure that the traffic, the vehicular traffic is reduced drastically, and now the pedestrian traffic too, that is human movement from one point to another, should be restricted too. So because this thing, that COVID-19 is a reality, and it does not move by itself, but it moves by people. So if people are restricted and then kept to the lockdown order, I think we achieve a higher success. So that is exactly what we are doing now.
Okay, there are allegations of misuse of permits by some essential staff. How serious is this, and do you have any number to back this up?
Come again?
We're talking about the allegation of misuse of permits now by some essential staff. Do you have some numbers to back this claim up, and how serious is it?
Oh, that is very correct. We have people who even clone the permits, apart from the excess issuance of the permits. And what we're trying to do is, if you don't have a business and it's serious matter to do, you don't need to come outside. You need to keep indoor and then stay in there. What we're trying to do is to make sure that everybody is involved in this this work to make sure that it's a great success. You know, people tend to show that they are on a social duty where they are not having any social duty, but just to go to one place or the other to enjoy themselves. This is not time, it's a time for sacrifice on the part of everybody, both pedestrians and every other person. Even if you are a law enforcement agent, a military, paramilitary, if you don't have any business doing outside there, if you are not on duty, you are expected to keep indoor. So nobody is being spared now. And a lot of the parts have been seized, both the clone and the original one are issued that are not supposed to be issued.
How about the numbers? Do you have any numbers of arrested people?
For now, yesterday along Kuba Road, I was where one was arraigned before the mobile court. I was there too. One I saw, and that was early in the morning at the hours of 7:30 to 8 in the morning. And I believe after that, a lot were contravened too. Another one at AYA. That too I was sure of, but I think we have more than that.
All right, we definitely agree with you that this containment or the exercise restriction of movement is quite important, but the mobile courts have been on ground to try offenders, violators of the lockdown order. How effective has it been in serving as a deterrent?
Very, very effective, very, very effective. As of today, we sat, one mobile court was under the bridge of the Untitled Bridge along the airport road. One took place at AYA under the bridge. Another one at Impape Junction. But I was at the intended Aziz, and there I saw that we have very low vehicular movements. The only one we recorded was the higher movement of pedestrians. And they were seized and they were asked to do community labor there before they were discharged. And then those that maybe the few vehicular movements were restricted, they were arraigned before the magistrate court, that is the mobile court there, and they were charged. We have about 29 cases today. From that Aziz, 9 were discharged and 20 were impounded until after the COVID-19 lockdown order.
Okay, there are also complaints by some essential workers about unnecessary delay on the highway during at your checkpoints. How are you trying to reduce this so that those who genuinely have reasons to go out would not have working hours?
You see, what we're trying to do is to see if you can dedicate a lane for all the essential workers so as to make their movement easier. But unfortunately, you realize that Nigerians being what you are, everybody wants to claim to claim his status in the society, and then by making sure that sure that the road is blocked. But as much as possible, we are trying to see how those on essential duties are less restricted to have a very smooth movement to their various points of duties.
Mr. Delearo, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Right, Mr. Delearo is the Director Operations FCT Vehicle Inspection Office. Now, it's time to take a break on NT International News. More news afterwards.
Action. Make your home the place to be with GoTV's super cool kids channels.
That sounds fun.
From funky friends that'll keep even the little ones busy.
All right, everybody, let's do this!
To learn as you watch educational shows for curious young minds.
You can do some amazing things.
There's plenty for everyone. Tune in to our kids shows and get everything you need to keep the kids entertained and learning the fun way. GoTV, live it, love it.
Thanks a lot for staying tuned in to the news on NT International. And follow the demise of the Chief of Staff to the President, former Head of State, General Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida, has commiserated with the President Muhammadu Buhari over the passing of his CSO, Malam Abba Kyari. The Nigerian former leader described late Abba Kyari as a reliable and competent public servant who brought a wide range of experiences to bear in his assignment and stood firmly by the principles and philosophies of the present administration for the common good of Nigerians. It says late Abba Kyari was an epitome of wisdom whose absence will be greatly felt by presidents, considering the long-standing relationship which sprawled over 4 decades and prayed a lot to strengthen the president and the entire country over the huge loss. The former head of state says the late chief of staff was critical in the achievements recorded by President Muhammadu Buhari, adding that the best way the nation could immortalize him would be through ceaseless prayers for the repose of his soul. In a similar development, Minister of Foreign Affairs Geoffrey Onyeama, who was a close friend, described the late Chief of Staff as loyal to a force who decided to protect his boss, President Muhammadu Buhari, at all costs and would take any number of bullets for him. Onyeama said the deceased was very simple and humble and a man of unimpeachable integrity and absolutely incorruptible, and the International Press Institute, the global network of editors, media executives and communication experts, said it received with a profound shock the passing away of the Chief of Staff to the President, Malam Abba Kyari. It recalled with nostalgia the immense contribution of late Kyari to the successful hosting of the 2018 IPI World Congress in Abuja and beseeched the Almighty Allah to grant the deceased Aljana Firdaus and to grant the Director General Institute and to grant him, the family, the fortitude to bear the loss. The Director General Institute for Peace and Conflict Resolution, Dr. Bakut, has also commiserated with President Muhammadu Buhari and all Nigerians on the death of the President's Chief of Staff, Malam Abba Kyari. He said the death of Abba Kyari was a great loss not only to the President but to the entire nation, adding that the deceased was a strong pillar of support to President Buhari and his administration. The Lagos State government has commenced a house-to-house active case search to detect possible cases of COVID-19 across the state. The State Commissioner for Health, Professor Akin Abayomi, who made this known while updating journalists on COVID-19 in the state, said the search team has visited about 1,197 households and identified 29 patients in respiratory distress in the course of a search.
The red line demonstrates what would have happened if we had not deployed any of the strategies. By now, we would have been seeing about 6,000 cases. But as a result of our strategies, and that reflects the blue line, you can see, despite the fact that we seem to be seeing more cases on a daily basis, we are really in a position where our strategies in Lagos State have indeed dramatically reduced the number of cases that we would have seen.
The Health Commissioner again appeals to Nigerians to obey the social distancing order and observe personal hygiene to curb the spread of the virus, urging residents with symptoms to reach out to governments to enable them access proper medical care. Beneficiaries of conditional cash transfer under the federal government's social investment program in Adamawa State have lauded the federal government for the payment of 4-month arrears, which will go a long way in cushioning the effects of current COVID-19 lockdown. Mohammed Saidu takes us up from here.
Following the lockdown order in some parts of the country by President Muhammadu Buhari recently to further strengthen the fight against coronavirus pandemic, the federal government initiated some palliative measures to cushion the effects of the order. One of such measures is the payment of arrears of all registered members under the Empower of the federal government Economic Alleviation Program. In Adamawa State, more than 16,000 households from 12 local government areas of the state under the Conditional Cash Transfer Program have so far benefited from the 339 million naira earmarked for the exercise.
I have to go and buy food for my house, Though I'm not married, I have to assist my parents in one way or the other.
I'm very happy because as a family man, the thing is not easy. So I'm very happy. With this little token, I thank the federal government with that.
I feel joy and happy because the money is helping me.
The focal person of the social investment program in the state, Mary Uwadi, said all the 4 months arrears of the beneficiaries have been settled as directed by the president.
Their livelihood have changed. They were able to feed their families, at least with balanced diets, as expected.
In Yola, Muhammad Saidu, NTN News.
Embark in the FCT skeletal banking services to make easy access to cash at banks' automated teller machines, ATMs, are part of federal government's measures aimed at relieving some of the economic pains of the lockdown. Usman Aliyu finds out the efficacy of a service in our reports.
Business is shut down across the globe, but the demand for consumer goods is making Nigeria's economy to rise. And so the federal government put in place a series of support measures to ease pains associated with accessing cash at this time of the lockdown. Banks are mandated to perform skeletal services, but there are worries that some people don't find it easy transacting at this time.
So many hours here waiting. On reaching the ATM machine, he said we were unable to dispense cash. For God's sake, look at us. Many people suffered, disappointed. They just went without money.
I am not banking with this bank, so they cannot allow me to withdraw more than 10,000 naira at a spot. So which means if you are withdrawing 11,000 naira and above, maybe you cannot access it very quickly. So that's the problem. But and I know because they want to make more profit.
Easily dispensing easily without no issue at all, no network problem, no difficulty. The ATM is paying. I'm going to the market to get some food store, so I get some cash and I got some cash without it's ease, no issue at all.
Economists say demand of product is influenced by many factors, so this time when essential goods are not under the restriction order, people are hoping for improved services at the ATMs. In Abuja, Usman Aliyu, NTA News.
Now, it is a fact the typical African traditions strengthen the value of coming together as a people. However, the increasing cases of coronavirus pandemic on well-being has given a shift in perspective towards impeding community transmission of the virus among residents of Lafia, the Nasarawa state capital. Victoria Kasua Ojito has more on the story.
Nasarawa State 3 next-door neighbors of FCT Benue and Kaduna are contending with confirmed cases of the coronavirus. Although no case have been detected so far in Nasarawa, it is not business as usual for the government and residents. In Lafia, for instance, around Konfa Father, which is the Emir's palace, usually busy, is now a shadow of itself. The situation is the same in Rice Mill, which is a local industrial hub of the community, and Kwandere Road have complied with the directives to stay away from one another, at least physically. On their experiences, here are some of the people.
The people of Emir Palace are comply with the rules that government said that we should stay at home. And we obey the rules.
We are believing God that nothing will happen to us. Just say God should take full control of our lives.
Beyond the stay-at-home order, health tips including regular hand washing especially has become the norm.
All of us should comply and go by the instruction being given to us as regards to the issue of safety.
The state government is sustaining engagements across the state, including extending time period of curfew and lockdown, as well as getting infrastructure ready to defeat the outbreak of COVID-19. In Lafia, Victoria Kaswa Ojito, NTA News.
And Victoria's report from Lafia concludes the news on NTA International. Thanks a lot for your time.
Catch your favorite